Good evening, everyone. We are so excited for you to be joining us again live tonight for another really great discussion. I know you guys are thinking, my goodness, I've seen Jamie several times this month, and you're absolutely right, you have, because this is such an important time of the year. And you know what? I actually have two more great conversations lined up for us, so we'll get together a few more times. This week in particular, it's a really important time for the state of Louisiana, one that can literally change our state by having this very important election take place. As you all know, we had Mr. Luke Letlow elected as U.S. Congressman. Unfortunately, he did pass away a few months ago. Since then, the election has resumed, and this time we have several candidates running for the position of U.S. Congressman or Congresswoman for the state of Louisiana. I wanted us to have an important conversation about the power of voting. The early voting period has already passed, but the official voting day, as we like to call it, is this Saturday. And so I wanted us to be able to engage in a meaningful conversation about why it is so important to vote. I'm so honored and thankful to have some really influential, energetic, powerful, passionate women with us today. They are such important role models, and I'm thankful that we get the chance to have this conversation, but even more so that I get to sip from the cup of wisdom that they bring every single time I get to hear them talk. First, we have, and I do want to clarify that they are members of the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women. Miss Betty Ward Cooper, who some of you may also know as a retired instructor from ULM, a member of the school board, and she is also the president of the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women. I want to make sure I don't get the title mixed up. And in addition to that, you may know Ms. Pat Moore in many positions, having served this community in so many ways over the years, always being a wonderful servicewoman, a servant of Christ, and most recent years, our state representative. And when you see her, she is always a woman of service, always a woman of optimism, hope, and encouragement. And she is also the fifth vice president of the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women. So we are so honored to have these important and influential women in the building tonight to address the topic why voting is so important. So, as I said before, this is a very loosely structured conversation. I'm going to throw the ball to them. And for those of you who are out in the audience, if you have questions you'd like to ask, please post them in the comments. If you have comments, please share them. And most importantly, please hit that share button so that we can send this conversation out across the state for other people to tune in. So I'm going to first ask you ladies, did I miss anything? Is there anything else you want to share about yourselves before we get started?
Well,
No,
I want to share this. Jamie Mays is that energetic, influential woman that she described us as. And I'm honored to be here with Pat Moore and with you, Jamie, and our audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate it. So I want to start with our first question, which is one that I think so many people need an answer to because I think it's one of the biggest things that has affected our voter turnout. That question is why, what is so important about the U.S. Congress seat?
well, Jamie, I would just want to thank you again for giving us this opportunity to speak on this. I just want to just say, I guess too, this race is personal. It's personal to me because I am a member of the Louisiana Legislative Women's Caucus, and also, as you stated earlier, the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women. And both of those caucuses, those organizations, we represent women. Our goal is to go out and help other women to become leaders and to serve in seats like this. We need women voices. We need a female to go to DC, to likewise with the state, to represent us, to address the issues that we see every day in our communities, whether it's minimum wage, whether it's health care, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that men are not doing it, but I know for a fact that when we have a female's voice there representing us, we can get things done. We can get issues that are important to us, our children, our education, all of these things. So this seat is important. We want to make sure that whoever gets a seat, that it can be a person that will go and work, not divide, work and bring unity, work with the current uh, uh, elected officials that are there already, our president, our vice president, and of course the congressional all together. So it's important that we send the right person there and we send someone that's going to be there for our voice.
Comments. You know, we need to be represented. We need someone to go there and speak for us on behalf of all of the citizens of this great state, and especially the least among us. You know, they tend to be voiceless and sort of marginalized. Who will speak for them? And so representation for all of the people is important. And this seat will give us that representation for the 5th Congressional District. And we need someone that's, I always say, they have the fire in the belly. They want this position for the right reasons. And they will go there and be vocal and make sure they express the concerns of all of the people, but especially, again, the least among us. And, you know, I think we have a very good candidates in the race, but one of them will win. And so, yeah, we need the representation. And we need to make sure, you know, we vote to get the person that we think will represent us best. And if you don't vote, you know, you're missing out on your opportunity to send the right person to represent us.
I think that what you ladies share is so important when we talk about the power of representation. And I've been sharing that conversation over and over again. Louisiana prides itself on culturalism. We tell people to come visit us, the Bayou State, right? The culture of Louisiana, where we're very welcoming, where we're supportive and encouraging. But one of the biggest things that I tend to feel is that our political community does not reflect the diversity and the culture of our state. And so if we want to continue to push that conversation or that theme in terms of tourism, we have got to walk like we talk. And so bringing more diversity to represent our state and all of the people here is a very big way that we can make sure everybody's voice is being heard. You know, we can no longer just continue to think that a certain group of people is good for the representation, but not good for a position at the table. It makes me think about the Langston Hughes poem as well, right? But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. And tomorrow when company comes, I won't have to sit in this place anymore. And in a sense, that's kind of what I feel we still are.
Yes.
That we have politicians who are speaking up, but their voices are not being heard the way that it should be. Representation is not as prevalent as it needs to be. And I agree with you all, even so much so as having a woman who has strong charisma and passion and is going to be very honest about addressing the needs of everybody in this state. That is going to show compassion for every individual in this state, not just a marginalized group,
That's
and
right.
that's very important.
That's
So I wanted to know if
Jamie, I'd like to add on to that because, you know, I tend to select people for a job, people that are, say, already doing the work. already involved in the kind of occupations where they are interacting with people and they're hearing their concerns, and they really try to do something about those concerns. And so I look for candidates like that. They're already doing that kind of work, and they're ready to go. And so that's a determining factor for me.
I have to say as well, when I go back to think about, I remember when now Representative Moore, I still say Mrs. Moore, moved into the state representative position, how I thought that she was just the perfect person because long before we saw her in a state political seat, you could find her serving anywhere, including using her front yard to provide for children of the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
And so when you talk about how real leaders are already in the mode of serving, you are absolutely right about that. And so when they get to a bigger position, the perspective and the attitude and beliefs of service are already in place. It's not something they don't have to be trained to see things in a different way. It's already a part of who they are. So
That's
that's just such a very important and very meaningful statement to make. But I wanted to know if either of you can further break down what the U.S. congressman or woman will actually be doing. Because I think that one issue for people is that they don't understand how important this is. We say, oh, I'm only voting for the president, or oh, I'm only doing the mayoral election. Oh, I may show up for my state representative because people don't realize just how much of an impact these positions have. So, can you share with us a little bit more information about why the U.S. congressman or congresswoman seat is so important? What can people do in this position?
Well, I like to say when to help people kind of understand when you're looking at different seats and different levels of government, I'd like them to kind of understand the local level. When you're talking about local elected officials, they're dealing with things that just right here, mostly that's going to be concerning your neighborhood, your parish, your little community. Then when you get to the state, now you're taking on a bigger piece of the pie as far as responsibility. You're looking at things not just so much in Ouachita Parish, but all 64 parishes. And then when you get to the federal level, here you are representing our whole 50 states, making decisions about the whole United States and other countries around you. You're some of the things that's mostly dear to us, our health care, I the food and programs that help us to eat, decisions about minimum wages that will impact the whole country, decisions of these kinds. So it's three different levels, and as you get to when you get to DC, you will be focusing mostly on issues that's going to involve our whole United States, all 50. And sometimes you don't see that person at the top much because the types of issues that they're dealing with is are not so far as not so much home based. The person that you mostly see are going to be your local elected officials. You see them in the grocery stores, you see them here. And sometimes that's the case on the state. But then too, when you get to the federal level, it's a whole different ball game. But you still got to be able to understand how these decisions impact our country and other countries involved. People in different countries, you're making decisions on that. Programs and dollars that are going to be spent not just in Louisiana or Ouachita Parish, but the whole country, and as you would say, national. But it is an awesome responsibility. You're going to have to be dedicated, committed, knowledgeable, and also what Betty said before, a servant, somebody that really cares and willing to represent all of the people, not
yes.
just a selected group of people, but all. And I have to say, if you wanted to find out how people are willing to work for you, be a voice for you, represent you, Listen to what they are saying. Listen to the things that they're saying. Are they for minimum wage? Some have already said, no, I'm not. Well, look how many people are working 2 and 3 jobs and still can't make ends meet. Look to see how many people health care. They don't have the proper health care. And the virus revealed a lot of that to us. It was there, but it revealed all of these underlying health issues. We need someone that's going to address those issues. Our education system, dollars for different programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. These are the type of issues that this seat, the candidate that will be elected, will be addressing these types of issues.
That's right. And listen, I'd like to add to that, and I agree with everything Pat Moore said. Thinking about Congress in general, she will be our U.S. representative. Well, I said she, male or female, they'll be our representative. And by the way, if there's a woman that's elected, it'll be the first woman to represent us in Congress from Louisiana. How about that? So, but anyway, thinking about Congress, though, they have sort of like 5 main functions. And one of those functions would be lawmaking, representing the people, and providing the necessary oversight, doing all they can to help their constituents and to educate the public. See, the public must be educated. That's why we must do things, be accountable, must be open and transparent. So the public must be educated and brought along as decisions are made, and kept in the know. And so I see whoever we send there, working within those parameters, but also they're going to have to maybe introduce some bills and resolutions, and maybe have to offer some amendments. They're going to serve on committees. So it's a lot of work. So you have to be really serious about this job, because it requires a lot, because it's a very important job when you're representing 24 parishes in this state. In other words, almost it's a third of our of the citizens of this great state.
So what you're telling me,
It's a lot.
that those stimulus checks everybody's been so excited about, those child care credits we will see coming during the second half of the year, our Congress people have the most significant role in ensuring that packages like that get passed, right?
You're right about that. And I just want to point out this, because I've been looking at all of the different opportunity dollars and what the dollars are going to go and which programs they're going to help. But I have to say this, out of all of them that are in DC, look and see, investigate, find out for yourself before Saturday who voted for the people.
That's
Who
it.
said I wanted to pass this legislation? Who voted and who said they will not and would not support it? It's very important that you all pay attention to what candidates are saying. And really, it's a sad situation that only Democrats in the Senate pass, and the House, and maybe a few exceptions, but the majority of the ones that said we are going to help our people, we're going to help them get to move forward. Look to see who they were. We need people that are going to serve and think and work to help us when we are in some tough times. And not many of the candidates have said it publicly. Matter of fact, they said they would not have supported that bill, that act. So that's important when you're trying to consider who to vote for. And it's certainly important to say, I need to get up Saturday and go vote.
I want to reiterate that because we have so many people who have been excited about the stimulus check. We have seen Facebook memes. We have seen jokes
A
everywhere.
lot.
Everybody's been bragging about it. So people need to understand this. Those stimulus checks are not possible without the approval and support of your Congress members. Okay? And so you will also have to realize that you have to push for people to be in office who are going to look out for your best interests, especially considering that we are still in the midst of a pandemic and we have quite a bit of time to go before our country is back up and moving like it's been before. And
Yes.
so I think that that's something extremely important for people to understand because everybody's celebrating that.
Mm,
Everybody's bragging of it. I mean, it's huge conversation. But when we look at the polls in our states, for whether people are actually showing up to vote to have a say so in who's representing us, is not really being reflected like we need it to be reflected.
right.
And so folks need to understand that in order for us to ensure that things like this continue to be available, the PPP loans, the tax credit increase,
Yes.
some of these possible, if you're one of the people saying, oh, we need student loans forgiven, right? You have to have people in office who are going to advocate for you. This is one of the positions where they have great influence over bills like that. But if you have an elected official who doesn't even want to hear you or consider that, then you don't have a dog in that fight, as they say.
Mm,
So you have to make sure you do your part by getting up citizens, getting to the polls. Louisiana can't keep just saying we want change. We have to make change happen.
oh, yes.
So
That's right.
thank you,
That's
you
right.
all for explaining that so well and giving us the examples that we as everyday citizens can understand.
That's right.
So I have some other questions, and this is something y'all definitely know more about because I've talked to both of you separately about this issue, and we both understand that this is a big problem we're facing in our state. What are some of the challenges we are facing regarding people getting out to the polls and voting and things like that? So, what are some challenges we're facing?
Well, I want to just first of all say this. God has really helped us to advance against a lot of these challenges. He has helped us through the 1964, 65, when when there wasn't even an opportunity for, first of all, African Americans to vote. He fixed that. He got that done, and I'm giving the credit to God through working through others. Then there was a time when we as women weren't able to vote. Just not too long ago. What, 1920? Not too long ago, we weren't able to go and vote. So that's been fixed. And then when African Americans had the opportunity, first of all, it was the Amendment 15 with just the black men. But when they had that opportunity to go and vote, it was all kinds of obstacles in front of them that prevented them to vote. 64, 1964, 65 took care of all of that. However, now it's up to the people. So I don't really see, other than you getting up and going out and seeing the importance of voting and going to vote. It's important. It's your voice. This is the way you exercise your power by voting for people to represent you. There's nothing right now to stop you from going to the polls Saturday. All you need to do is make sure you have your driver's license or ID or something and know where to go and vote. So let's eliminate excuses. But it is really personal with me. I'm 63. I just turned 63. But my great grandmother, who raised me until I was 14, grew up on a plantation, you all. Born and grew up on a plantation. Fifth grade education. Couldn't vote. Left this earth without being able to vote. My grandmother died at 96. Didn't vote, had opportunities, but didn't understand the importance of it. My mother, being deceased over 25 years, didn't understand the importance of voting. So that's and so that's why it's personal with me, because I have seen in my own family where they didn't have the opportunity or didn't understand the importance. But we know now, we see how important it is. We see how it's important that we go and send people to be enforced for us. We see how it needs to be diversity there. We need Black women, we need women, we need Black women, we need African Americans, however you want to say this. We need them to represent us, to be a voice in what's going on in our community. So really, there is no reason why you shouldn't get up and go vote. But I do want to say this as an elected official. If we have failed you, I want to be the first to say, as elected officials, I'm sorry. Because I do know that sometimes we ask you to vote for us and then we forget about you. We take advantage. But you still must keep on moving. You still must keep on voting, and don't let that stop you. So it's important to get out there. Nothing is holding you back. We are moving forward. We're not going to regress. We are going to move forward and take advantage of the voting opportunity, but you must do it this Saturday.
Okay. Some other obstacles that I think is worth speaking about is that we have a large percent of our people that seem to be sort of apathetic right now for whatever reason. They just seem to be in this flat mood. They just sort of indifferent about what's going on around them. They indifferent about people. They don't trust the elected officials, and just a lack of enthusiasm is what I could how I can describe it, and not caring maybe as much as they should, because look, we should be concerned about each other, and we should do whatever we can to make it better for the other person if you don't want to make it better for yourself. And so your voting is an opportunity to do just that. It is a very powerful tool that we can utilize to bring about the change that's needed. You know, I sort of look at voting this way. When I don't go vote, it's really like I'm just handing my vote to someone else, and you vote however you want, and they may vote against my interest. So that's what happens when you don't go vote. And we need that power of your vote. And so it's that apathetic state. For what caused it, that's a long discussion. But I do know this. I've looked at some research, and it indicated that voting is sort of habit forming. And they do it time and time again. It becomes a habit. And that, let's say children in a household, they will tend to imitate their parents. If their parents went to vote and they talked about voting, they're modeling that right behavior before them, it's likelihood that that child will vote when they become a young adult and beyond. So we as individuals need to think about those coming behind us, modeling the right behavior before them, that voting is important. And I have this philosophy of never missing an election, a local election, you know, a statewide or national. And so I think we should raise our children up thinking that way as well. So it's getting rid of this apathetic state, and it's all up here, you know, it's how we're thinking. We just need to stop that and say today, I'm going to be an engaged voter. It's my civic responsibility. I live in a democracy. Participation is required. And when you don't participate, as I said, it's just like handing your vote to somebody else. They're going to vote their interests and not yours, probably.
Yes, that we understand about voting as a whole is that we don't have a lot of people who At the age now, you can be 18. At one time, it was 21. They changed that. Now you can vote at the age of 18. You need to register to vote, and not just vote when it's the president. All these other seats are important. Local seats, state seats, and certainly congressional seats are important. But this is the thing. We have enough people right now to go and vote and select a candidate that will serve us and represent us. But it's going to have to take you to get out and go vote. So even with this congressional seat, we can. We said that we were interested and we wanted a candidate that would go and represent us and work with those who are already there, work with our president, work with our vice president. She can win. Candace can win. But it's going to have to take you to go out and go vote. And that's what we're saying. That's why it's so important. Now, after this election Saturday, yes, we need to get more people registered to vote and to go and continue to talk about the importance of it. But even if elected officials have disappointed you, that still shouldn't keep you from voicing and using your power through voting. We have to stop making excuses. There's no excuse this Saturday. If you are a registered voter, you need to go. And I'm asking and pleading with you, go vote Saturday. Make it a point to go and vote Saturday. This is an important race. This is an important seat, a seat that will help us move and get things done for our state, our community, and of course, this United States of America.
I want to thank you, ladies, first for such powerful, passionate, robust responses. I always vote, but I feel extra obligated right now. Take me to the polls right now. But I want to also say that for me, it's a very personal thing as well for the reasons that you both have stated. Number one, Ms. Moore, you know, it's a very personal thing for me because I always think about what my ancestors went through before me in order to get this opportunity for me. And people had to be willing to literally put their lives at risk. They had to be willing to literally say, I'm going to keep fighting for this. You've told me no today, but I believe that you'll say yes tomorrow for the sake of my children. I am our ancestors' child. And so because of that, anything that I can do to honor the work they've done, I will do it. Voting takes just a few minutes of my time. In most cases, your voting place is right around the corner within blocks of your house. You'll drive past the voting booth to go pick up some food, for McDonald's to pay them money. A vote is payment to you because it's an investment into your future. And it's ensuring that you do your part. So I want to first emphasize that when you make the statement about how important it is because of our ancestors and what they went through, and how many of them did not have the chance to get the knowledge and understand, because what really happened was by the time they had the right to vote, and this is something I studied during my Black History period, so many of them were still discouraged because there was so much corruption still within the system that said even if they voted, it still didn't mean anything. Now we have more systems in place where if you cast that vote, your vote is going to count.
Yes.
If your vote is not counted fairly, you have people who can hold folks accountable for that. And the other thing that I want folks to know is that there are over 100 bills on the docket right now to put voting restrictions in place.
Oh, yes.
Those voting restrictions are mostly against people of color.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they're for. And we can be honest about that. Black folks, they don't want us to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who chooses not to go to the poll to cast your vote, you're giving them what you want before they even put a restriction in place.
Mm-hmm.
There are over 100 bills out there. And this is going through your Congress as well. So what are you seeking to do? Put somebody in place that's going to set you back 100 years personally. Will set you back 100 years, or are you going to advocate for people who are going to defend you and push for progress for the next 100 years? Because this is a lot more serious than people think. We have had to stare our broken system in the face right now and say there has to be some real accountability. We can no longer be spoon-fed the idea of change. Change must really happen. And for people who are against it, we must stand up as a country and say, no, we're not doing this. We're moving forward with progress.
Mhm.
And the people that we allow the people that we elect for our state reflect the culture of our state. You know how hard it is when I'm talking to people from other states and even in other countries at this point, and the first thing they think about the South is that we don't really know diversity, we don't know culturalism, and that we don't have any real progress.
Yes.
And so not only is it not fair to our citizens, it's not fair to the children who will come behind us. They deserve a fighting chance to be viewed, for our state to finally be viewed as a real place of diversity, not just where they want to come and eat crawfish and have Mardi Gras, but where you want to see a real place of change. Because before we would have stayed in Louisiana, we were Louisiana Purchase, right? All of this on up was part of the setup of this state, was part of how this country came to be what it is now.
Right.
But the identification of our state now is that we are a place that lacks progress. And at the tip of all our fingers, we have the power to make a change just by pushing that button on Saturday.
That is so correct. That's the power. Use your power. It's been given to us, the power in voting. And we do need you to get, if you have not voted early, please, please go and vote Saturday. We need you to vote Saturday. It's important. Make it personal. Think about something that has prevented your loved one, whether it's been 40 years, 50 years, or whatever, from this opportunity. And if you don't just do it for yourself, do it for your children. Do it for your grandchildren for the future. But it's important Saturday for all of those who are registered voters to go and vote. And we're saying that whether you're in those 24 parishes or in Ouachita, I know how important it is for your vote because you had to help me get to where I am. I needed you to go out there and vote for me, and you did it. So I'm asking you to do it again. Go and vote Saturday. It's important. This is your power. Use it.
Things. Um, some of you still may have that mail ballot, and that ballot has to be back in the registrar of voters office by 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. So do not mail that thinking your vote will get in. You're going to have to go to the polling location for Saturday and vote, and or turn in that ballot then. But just it's too late to mail it. I want to make you aware of that. The other thing, we're talking about voter turnout, and we want everybody that's eligible, certainly, to go out. And I just want to say a special thing about our youth vote. Sometimes they get a bad rap for various reasons. We want the youth to show up this time, show their power at the polls on Saturday, and I want to salute the youth for this reason. There are a lot of other forms of, say, political action, voter participation, or getting out the vote participation, and what I noticed about our youth, uh, their form of citizen activism is they promoted a lot of these mass protests. They like the Occupy movements, and they really good on that social media, and that's our other platform for political engagement. So their activism also comes in these other forms, but it has to be followed up with that vote at the poll or for an election. And so I'm saluting you, but at the same time, I'm saying show up, turn out for this Saturday's election.
Turn out for the people in our communities, in my districts, and other districts in our community. We need you to go Saturday. Okay, you didn't go and vote early, but you still got one more day, just one, and that is Saturday, March the 20th. to go out and exercise. And I know our young people are going to get out and go vote. I'm having confidence that you're going to do it. You get on that Facebook, you call your friends, do whatever you say, hey, I voted, have you gone? Make sure your friends, your family, your loved ones, call them up, tell them to get up and go vote and be there before the polls close.
I just shared a message that says text 10 friends and tell them to go vote on Saturday. You
That
know,
sounds
yeah.
Yes.
And that's one of the biggest things out there is sending a text message, right? People love texting over anything. Now, I'm not a texting person. I'm like, oh, me. But we love texting. And so you can text 10 friends and say, hey, put them in a group text. Did y'all go vote? Voters, check in. After you voted, let us know. Check in, let us know you went to vote. Accountability seems to be one of the most influential ways to get people to ensure that everybody is on one accord for positive goals. And so create a group text. Text 10 people. Let's go. Tell those 10 people to text 10 people. Tell those 10 people to text 10 people and say, everybody check in. Let's go to the polls and vote Saturday. One of the things I love is when you get those voter stickers and you get to flash that voter sticker. Georgia was like my timeline up a few months ago. And I want Louisiana to be able to do the same. If they don't have any stickers, take a picture in front of that sign. It's a tradition for me and my son. I always take my son with me to vote. And if he doesn't get to go, he gets upset. I tried to early vote the last time, and he was like, no, you cannot do that. I have school. And so this time he was already here at home. And so I had to make sure that time that I waited until that Saturday so that we could go to the polls together. But already the mission is to train him to understand how important it is to vote. And so we make sure that we do that together. So I want to just continue to say that, small acts, powerful meaning. And we can see Louisiana make a big move as well. I want us to celebrate like Georgia. I want Georgia to tell us, Louisiana, you're getting on the movement too. Get on the train, right? Get on the train. I want us to do the same thing. So we're not just looking at what somebody else is doing and saying they did a great job. They did an excellent job. No, I want you all to say that we're part of the progress plan too. To see the South revolutionize and truly reflect the culture. Diversity really, it starts here in the South. This is where folks were being brought in. This is where people were coming up the Mississippi. This is where people were coming through the Gulf of Mexico. So this is the heart of diversity for this country. Truthfully, let us finally start to show people that we are moving toward having the voices of every person heard. So we're going to go ahead and move to the next question.
Jamie, let me say this. We know how easy it is to vote, to go in there and push the button. But there's some pause and hesitation from a lot of our voters. And what I'm thinking it is sort of the fear of the unknown. They haven't been in that voting environment. They haven't seen that polling booth. They don't know what they're going to experience. So there's some fear of the unknown. They don't want to be embarrassed when they walk in there. And so we want to tell them it's not what you're thinking. The people that are in these voting places are so helpful. And you walk up to a desk and tell them your name, show them your ID, and they check you off. They give you your card so you can vote. And you go to the booth, someone helps you there, and they insert that card for you. And privately, you see the ballot and you punch the button for the person you want and you submit it.
And Betty, I would just like to add to that, for those who maybe this is going to be your first time, look to Friday night. Make sure that you know exactly what you're going to be voting for. Know who you're going to vote for. And certainly when you get in there, if you need any help with some type of procedure, there is help for you. But know have it down who you're going to vote for, it won't take long to go in there and to pull that lever, to press that button and say, this is who I'm voting for. So don't wait until you get in there and try to figure it out. Write down, have your stuff together on what you're going to do, whether it's in your head or on your paper or whatever. But go in there with all the confidence that you're going to make a difference and you have power to use it, and you're going to use it. So whether you're first time or been doing this for a long time, go in there knowing who you're going to vote for and come out being proud that you've done your part. And when it's all done and said, that's it.
That's it. That is it.
That's it.
And if you want to take a look at the ballot, we have this from state of Louisiana. Louisiana is very innovative with this Go Vote application that you can download to your cell phone. GEAUX is how it's spelled. GEAUX, and Jamie can put that in the chat session, or I will in a minute. But Go Vote is the name of the application. Go to your Play Store, download it. You will have a wealth of information at your fingertips. Everything you really need to know. All of the election dates. You can see a sample ballot. It will tell you your polling location. So you can see the ballot before you go in. And the only thing we have on our ballot here in Ouachita Parish is for the U.S. representative race. And we're voting for a judgeship.
Yes.
It's just two things. So it's easy. It's very easy.
So thank you so much for that great information. And everybody does need to know that you can, Google that information, and then I'll put the information in the comments as well from Miss Cooper, to make sure that we have all those things in the comment as well. Miss Lynetta said that there's also an electronic I voted sticker. So if you and your friends want to do that, and I looked up one as well, and it's the whenweallvote.org/I voted. You can put that electronic sticker up, and we can still get the movement going Saturday. I know that I'll definitely be posting my picture and our I voted photo up. So we hope that we can keep that movement going on Saturday and get all of the 24 parishes, especially for us, but then the entire state on board to ensure that everyone is voting. So my next question is one that I'm very excited to ask, because I'll admit to you, I have become a fan of this woman. I had the chance to interview her a few days ago, and I was just as impressed as you all are. And I hope that she is the woman who makes history for our state. I would like to ask you ladies, why did Sandra Candy Kristoff impress you and your organization? I'm sorry, let me turn your mics on.
Can you hear me now?
Go, Betty, you want to go ahead?
Okay. Well, yes, let me say this. I have heard her speak, and you remember I told you about that word fire in the belly earlier? She has it. She is she knows the needs of the people. She has interacted with people for her, just from her work experience, and that work experience is very it's a high she has a very high skill set. The various businesses she's been in, and they all lend themselves for this kind of position. And especially what attracted me to her was her faith and her social work skills. Because see, I know the social work profession, those people, they really have a passion for helping others, and they work long and hard at it. Everybody is respected. They take time with people. They want to hear what's concerning them, and they try to do something about it. So that was my initial reaction to her, having the varied skill sets that really will lend themselves to her doing a very good job for us. and that she the social work background I thought was a very much needed kind of skill set too.
Yes. And I met Candy about a year ago when she had decided that she wanted to run. And she came to Baton Rouge or to another meeting where we were, and she took the time to explain why she was running. A servant, like Betty said, business owner, been serving this community, highly qualified, understand the issues that we are seeing. She knows that this district is a poor district. The needs for this district, housing, first-time home buyers, Medicare, health care, all of these issues, education, wanting to increase the minimum wage for our people so that we can have a better life, not only for ourselves, but for our children and parents, understanding the importance of education, understanding the dollars that we needed that we need to help us get to move forward. But I think what I really most enjoy and know about her, she's committed. She's going to get out there. She's going to work hard for us. And she's going to represent. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever. She is going to be a voice for us all. She's not going to go up there and just listen to just a Democratic Party or a particular party. She's going to do the right thing, and I know she will, because she's going to lean on God to direct her and address the issues that we need. I am very confident that she is highly qualified and capable of getting in there and doing the work that we need, making decisions for our country, for this on a national level, and also for the state of Louisiana. You know, Louisiana, we need to come back stronger, and she can help us do that by helping all of the people in Louisiana. So I am supporting her, and I hope you will go out and support her too.
You know, I have to agree with you all. I was so impressed. Now, I started following her a few months ago, but I started watching her live. She would do in the mornings to brief people and to engage in conversations, and I loved it. But as I told everybody before, I messaged her just as Jamie Mays. Not that she knows, she's not seen my work, didn't know anything about me. We had never crossed paths before. And within hours, she responded to me. And first, the first thing I told people was, I told her, I said, look, ma'am, I am not a person that has a social media platform of 100,000 people. I said, but I do have a social media platform that's got a pretty decent community of support and people from all over the state and other states. And I would just like to do my part. And the first thing she did when she messaged back, before she spoke about herself, she started off by empowering me and saying, it doesn't matter how many people you have in your community. I want to tell you how much it means that you are doing this. And I appreciate it. She said, so, and keep doing it. She never had to say that. She never had to offer me that. And it may have seemed like a small statement to me, but for her, it was a moment to say, look, keep going. And then from there, she said, contact the team, let them know I would love to have us on the schedule to sit down and talk. And just like that, we made that happen. And let me tell you something, when we talk about results, when we talk about being personable, when we talk about really being hands-on with people, before we actually got into the conversation, we were talking before camera, and we got so wrapped up in laughing and talking as if we known each other forever that I was like, oh, it's time to go live. And so we went right into the discussion as if I had had the chance to know her forever. And I tell people up here, I said, you have to check people's resume. This lady is an LCSW, which means she works in mental health. And so we can think about that in a one-dimensional way, but we also need to think about what's happening with our children due to the pandemic. We need to think about our teachers' mental health due to the pandemic. We need to think about our frontline workers, our medical professionals, those working in the store, who are all dealing with a lot of mental health issues. And over the course of the next few years, you guys, there are going to have to be some significant programs put in place to help the mental health community. And we now have a woman who can be the strongest advocate in the room for those types of resources to come to our state. We've got to look at this in a bigger picture. There are small parts we could talk about, but there are some futuristic issues out there that we are about to have to really deal with. And the mental health of our educational community, of our children, of our frontline workers who have seen death after death after death, all of that is going to require a stronger mental health system. And now we have a woman running who can tell you firsthand how to operate a business, how to give the best treatment possible, and how to have compassion across the board, regardless of race, gender, orientation, profession. She can tell you all that because she's been trained to do it. She's been operating in it for over 20 years. And Northeast Louisiana should be exceptionally proud because she's also a graduate of Grambling State University. That's where she got her master's degree. So Northeast Louisiana, this should be personal to you.
Yes.
I know in particular, our HBCUs, especially here in the North, take their student positions with pride. And so if you are alumni of GSU, or if you are a supporter of GSU, you should be at that post supporting your fellow alumni, trying to see more leadership on the way to the White House.
I agree with you. And I think what I'm looking at is someone who can not only represent us national in this United States of America, global, when we're making decisions that are going to impact people outside the United States. And someone, I'm always thinking about unity, working together. It is a mess in DC. Don't know how many people really want to get there and go there. But one thing I do know is that the fighting, all this divisiveness must stop. We need to send someone there that's going to work with our president, our vice president, and others there to get things done. And Louisiana, we need her help. We need to come back stronger, and I know we can do it. Let's send the right person there to represent us in District 5, 24 parishes, one of the poorest district there is. So she can represent us, she can be our voice, you use your power, and then we'll get things done.
That's
And I'm
right.
going to tell you all something honest. We cannot put a person in the office who is still lingering and tied to the past. We must have people who are looking for the future of our country. Our people are hurting. People are suffering. People are in pain. People are still trying to recover from losing multiple family members to a pandemic. People are really going through tough situations right now. So we don't need anybody that's going to be tied to anything that helped to break us. We've got to have leadership that's going to say we got to move toward a solution. We've got to put resources in place in our state that are going to continue to help our people recover. I saw today that our governor was so excited that of all the states, Louisiana is leading in vaccinations. That makes him very happy, especially since we were the highest in cases for so long.
That's
But
it.
after we get past the physical recovery, there's a lot of work to do in terms of the emotional recovery, in terms of getting jobs on track, in terms of getting our kids back into our schools in a regular setting, in terms of helping our teachers get their motivation and energy and just their regular scheduling, it's regular scheduled programming that,
Yeah.
nobody's been able to function as regular or in their regular way over the past several months, over the past year at this point. So we have to have people in there who are looking forward to the future, who are looking forward to what is now and what can be for us, not what has been. And I want to emphasize that because that's very important. And so I want to thank you, ladies, for that great answer. So I have one more question. And then from there, I'll let you all, of course, bring in whatever else you want to bring into the discussion, other things that you want to share. And that is, as I told everyone before, you are members, as a matter of fact, the president and fifth vice president of the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women, which we can see is a profound organization with a wonderful mission that means a lot to the people of this state. How can women join your organization?
Well, we're thankful for this opportunity to recruit voters for the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women. All of you that, if you leave your contact information in the chat session, we'll be in contact with you. The mission of this organization is to make sure that the voices of women and their concerns are heard.
Yes.
We are the voice. We're one of those voices. We're one of those groups that will represent the women and their concerns. And look, it'll be the same concerns, no doubt, for their spouses and the males and their families. But we want to make sure that those things that concerns us the most, we will be their voice. And we're just one of the voices. Yes. There are other like-minded organizations out there. And all we're doing is we're just joining in with our Louisiana Democratic Party. We have the same mission and goals. And we're just an arm to help it stand and be more effective for all of the citizens of this great state. So just put your information in the chat room, your cell phone number and your email address, and we'll respond back to you quickly.
And I'm proud to be a part of that organization, the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women. We care about everybody, and we are trying to help and reach out and address the needs of our community, our state. But I want to let you know this. I made a commitment today, you all, listen up here. I made a commitment to be on the membership committee. That means that I have to get you register and be a member of this organization. So when you see me reaching out, please don't ignore me. I have to get others, so I need your help. And once I get you to be a member for just $25 a year, once I get you to be a member, you give me some names and some referrals so I can call others. So you can be jotting them down right now. So-and-so can be a member, so-and-so. And we'll keep you informed and we'll keep you engaged into the things that we're trying to do. It's going to take a village to get things done. We've heard that before, and certainly it's going to take us working together to get things done. So on behalf of my little commitment, I just want to say that this is a great organization working for the people and trying to address the issues that affect us all. And we need you to become a member. So when I call you or text you or whatever, please answer for me and join.
The email address for the Louisiana Federation of Democratic Women is just lfdwinfo@gmail.com, and we'll get you situated.
And I just want to say now, was I on mute at that time when I was doing all this talking?
No, we heard every word. No.
Hey, I'm still learning this system, this technology. So
we heard you.
So I want to first start by saying what a fantastic night it has been. I have absolutely enjoyed sipping from your cups of wisdom tonight, as I always do. And your energy, your positivity is always so motivating and inspiring. I have had the chance to know both of you outside of here. I had the chance to work with Miss Betty Cooper on campaigns years before, and she is always highly energetic, very precise, and wholeheartedly committed. You know, I've had the chance to meet Miss Pat actually at a community event. Was the first time we met. And then the second time was through my goddaughter, Alexis Ellis, who absolutely loves her. And had told me to tell you hello, because I was talking about you the other day. And then just from then, it's just been through community communication that I've been able and being blessed and getting her support of me as an author, honestly, and speaker. I've been able to work with her on numerous occasions. But I've also learned so much just from being able to talk to you and listen to you and understanding that there's so much that I can be doing as well, wherever I am, to continue to support and empower my community. So I thank you so much for coming tonight. You are always very busy women, but you make time. You always have the energy to do the work that you feel needs to be done for our community. You are advocates of our community, of our state, of women, of the Black community, of mankind, of anyone who is in need for support. You ladies are always the number one advocates for those in need. And that is such a needed role model for every person in the 21st century. So for our listeners, there are a few things that I want to share with you before we close out. Number one, voting is this Saturday. So
Yes.
please go to the polls and vote. Text your friends, tell them to vote. Start an accountability group. Please post pictures. You can tag me, you can tag Ms. Cooper, you can tag Representative Moore. We'll be so excited to know that you have voted and to share that celebration with you. Specifically, I have no problem saying I am rooting for Miss Sandra Candy Kristoff. I think she can get the job done for our state. And I think that we need representation that is going to listen and put in work for every person here. And a woman that is looking forward to the future and helping us to move forward progressively. The next thing is that I'm going to ask you all to please send this interview to as many people as you can. This interview is streaming on my personal Facebook page, on my educational consulting page, and on my YouTube channel. So you can get the link from any of those areas, and if they're not on Facebook, they can actually view it through YouTube. You all please send this out to people and ask them to send it out. Send it to pastors. Ask them to send it to their congregation. Today is Thursday. By tomorrow, you guys, we can literally have this in the viewership of, I made up viewership, but that's my poetic right, of thousands of people around this area. So I'm asking you, please email this video out to people so that they can hear this conversation, hear the discussion, and be encouraged to go to the polls and to select a candidate that's going to represent our needs. I thank you all for coming tonight. Is there any last thing that either of you would like to say?
I just want to say, Jamie, I am so proud of you and what you do and how you represent our community in every area. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. And I just want to encourage people, use your power, go to the polls Saturday, tell your friends and your family members to go and vote.
Yes, and I want to speak about Jamie too. When we worked together years ago in this civic engagement work, she was very young, but she was energetic, and we worked well together. And so many activities and petitions to raise the minimum wage, and she was one of those young people that tend to get a bad press. But look at her now. She's hosting this event tonight, and you can tell her passion. And so we're honored to be with you tonight. And lastly, voters, those of you, some of you have already voted. You've done your civic duty, and we're happy. But there's more you can do. You can be on your phone calling people and encouraging them to vote. You can offer transportation for them, get them to the polls. But I do know that you have to be safe and cautious because of the pandemic. But texting, calling, taking people to the polls, and there's a fund banking opportunities. You can help us with that. They have it all digital. It's in a digital format now where you can just phone bank right from your phone. It is very easy. We need a lot of help tomorrow and Saturday. So would you put your information in the chat session and say, look, I want to help, and we'll contact you without delay.
Excellent. And I'm laughing as I heard Ms. Cooper say that I was going down to ruffle a few feathers. It is the words of Representative John Lewis who said, good, necessary trouble. And I will always be the mouthpiece of good and necessary trouble.
We need that. Don't stop. Yeah.
Thank you all so much for tuning. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. And we hope you have a fantastic rest of the week, and we will see all of you at the polls this
Go
weekend.
to the polls.
That's right. Take care and have a good evening.
Be safe. Love you.